Let's talk for a minute. It seems like we've kind of gotten used to taking each other's thoughts for granted. Like we can let our political parties or partisan politics draw the battle lines for our world. See, Christians, we are at war, but it's not that war. See, we've got to be more than catchphrases, identities, and political allegiances. No, we must be quick to listen, slow to respond. We must act justly, love mercy, and walk humbly with God. From the Message translation, 2 Corinthians 10 reads, "We don't live or fight our battles that way. We never have and we never will. The tools of our trade aren't for marketing or manipulation, but for demolishing a totally corrupt culture. We use our God tools for smashing warped philosophies, tearing down barriers erected against the truth of God, fitting every loose thought, emotion, and impulse into the structure of life shaped by Christ." This was a letter from Paul to the church in Corinth, and Corinth was a jewel in the ancient world. It boasted equality and liberty while enshrining promiscuity in a gulf between the haves and the have-nots. And what did Paul say to them? Take every thought captive for Christ. Don't let someone else draw the battle lines. See, I've worked to unite churches for years, and I know of no place where anything like unity has happened because they avoided hard conversations. The politics of our time assume that these conversations have already been had, and we know what everyone thinks because of what they think about something else. But where unity exists, it is because common ground has enabled us to have those very conversations in grace and love. Unless we have just surrendered to partisanship, for example, it seems obvious that racism is evil and alive and well in individuals and our systems alike. So yeah, things are complicated, but they're not hopeless. And if you can't hear this without jumping to some kind of what about, consider that you might have put ideology first, allowing some strategist in a Washington diner to draw your battle lines for you. G.K. Chesterton said, "These things are simply substitutes for thoughts. In some cases, they are the tags and the tail end of somebody else's thinking. That means that a man who refuses to have his own philosophy will not even have the advantages of a brute beast and be left to his own instincts. He will only have the used up scraps of someone else's philosophy." Do you want the used up scraps of someone else's philosophy? Or do you want the mind of Christ? I can't tell you what to think, but neither should they. Let's stand up and speak out for justice and righteousness, insisting that the church is not for sale. Our price was paid in full, and it wasn't in the halls of Washington.